Several weeks ago, a company got in touch with me and offered me a free action camera in exchange for a video review of it. This is the camera here. The company is Fluid Inform. This is their Eagle 4K. So if you're familiar with action cameras or GoPro style cameras, this is a wide angle lens on the front and a little screen on the back. So fairly simple camera. And I gotta tell you, I haven't been real keen on the idea of using an action camera in the past, but this one has kind of changed my mind. So I really like this little camera for several reasons, and probably reasons that don't immediately come to mind. Now, when I first got the package delivered and unboxed the camera, I took a little shot of the camera and all the little accessories that come with it. I want to show you that here. Okay, so there's the little camera, and all of this came in that little box. So there's lots of little mounts and straps and things that go with the waterproof case there, as well as a USB cable and a remote control, which I'm guessing might be useful for certain times you have the camera on a mount. Now, the one thing that it doesn't come with is a memory card, so you do have to buy one of those yourself. Now, I probably should say that all of my video I shoot with an iPhone. I shoot it with an iPhone and I edit it with an iPad. My current phone is an iPhone 7 Plus. I use my phone because number one, the quality is very good, and number two, it's always with me. Now, the one problem with using an iPhone to shoot video is sometimes your iPhone can let you down in certain situations. So take this situation here where I've got this big barge behind me. Now, if I'm trying to get this barge in my shot and show you what it looks like, in the past I've had to basically pan and tilt to get the whole background in my shot. The nice thing about a GoPro style action camera is that it has a wide angle lens, and so you can get more into your shot with a wide angle lens than you can with an iPhone lens. So having a wide-angle lens is obviously a nice tool to have, but I don't think that that's really the most important reason why you might want to have an action camera for yourself. I've actually found this little camera works very well as a dash cam. Now, obviously it's not a true dash cam, but because it's got that nice wide-angle lens and because it came with these little mounts, so now I'm able to get shots out my front windshield as I drive, and that's something that I've just never been able to do with my phone. So I want to talk about what I think is the most important benefit to having this little camera, and that is insurance. Now, what I mean by insurance is thinking about how I normally use my iPhone to shoot video. This is the little tripod and mount setup that I normally use as a Manfrotto tripod, and I normally just hold it like this. It's good and stable. What is not stable though is my camera mount. This is the one I'm using currently, made by a company called Square Jellyfish. Holds fairly well, not great. I've also got this little one by Joby. It's cool because it folds flat. Doesn't hold very well, so I'm always worried that my camera is going to fall out of my tripod setup using this one. I've also got a dollar store phone mount. This one is basically good for nothing. I'm not really sure why I haven't thrown it out yet. So in contrast to those flimsy little iPhone mounts that I have to use when I'm shooting with my phone, I've got this nice and stable mount that holds this little action camera very, very well, very stable and very secure. So if I'm trying to get a shot where I have to hold the camera up over a cliff or over a ledge, I'm always a little bit worried about doing it with my iPhone, being that those mounts are just not very faith-inspiring. Now, this one though is, as you can see. Now, I think about that as insurance, basically. If something were to happen to my iPhone, if I were to drop it off a cliff or into a waterfall, that would cost me a lot of money to get it replaced or fixed. This, since it's under $100, if I drop this, if I mangled it in some way, I could replace this quite easily. Just order a new one on Amazon, have it in a couple of days. So I like that, and I think about that as basically insurance for my phone, which is incredibly important to me. But this little camera is something that if I lost or if I broke, wouldn't be such a big problem for me to deal with. Okay, so pros and cons of this little camera. I would say the cons are fairly quick and easy for me. One is that this camera doesn't have image stabilization, so that is not really a con for me. I don't miss it, but might be something that you're looking for. The other thing is there is no way to use an external microphone with this camera. So not really an issue when you're using the camera in the little open case like this one, but it is kind of an issue if you're using the waterproof case. Does kind of muffle the sound a little bit. Now the pros for this camera, I would say there are a lot, at least for me. For one, the quality is very good, although I should point out that I didn't test the 4K capability. I don't have a monitor that displays 4K, and so it's just nothing that I can test. It's not really something I'm interested in anyway. I normally shoot in 720p, and so that's what I shot this camera with, because I think it's just a great way to compare, since that's what I always shoot anyway. So the camera does very good quality as far as I'm concerned. Image quality, I think, is very close to what my iPhone does, and I've been very happy with that. Another feature that I've really liked about this camera is that it has its own Wi-Fi connection. Now, because I normally shoot with my iPhone and edit with my iPad, I don't normally use a computer for anything, and I was a little bit worried about getting one of these action cameras that I would have to get a computer or some kind of card reader, and I really didn't want to do that. I don't want a computer, and having to mess around with a card reader, something else to buy, something else to lose, or at least something else to keep track of, wasn't something that I was interested in. So this little camera has its own Wi-Fi connection, which means that all you need to do is download the IDV app. You turn on the Wi-Fi on the camera here, you load up the app on your phone, and you can just get the anything that you shoot, video or pictures, off of this wirelessly. I really like that. Being able to transfer pictures and video from the camera to my phone wirelessly has been a huge benefit for me. That alone is what sold me on trying out this camera. Now, I've never really understood spending big money on an action camera, because what are you going to do with an action camera? You know that you're going to put it in a place that it's going to get knocked around, beat up. You're going to maybe get it wet, maybe lose it. To me, spending a little bit of money on a camera that you know that you're going to knock around and possibly lose or break makes much more sense than spending you know, $200, $300, $400 on a big name brand. Now, you know, you get a little bit more functionality with those $300 or $400 cameras, but as far as I'm concerned, spending big money on an action camera doesn't really make sense. But spending a little bit of money on an action camera, that means that I can leave my iPhone someplace safe and put this maybe in a waterproof case and use it out in the rain. Not something I want to do with my iPhone. Or hold this up over an edge of a cliff or a waterfall or something, and not have to worry about losing it, because if I did lose it, I could easily replace it, where I can't really easily replace my phone. So to me, that's the biggest benefit of this thing. Yeah, it gives me great shots that I can't get normally with my iPhone, but to me, it's the insurance that I can use this in places that I don't want to use my iPhone. And so that's what I like about this the best. So if you're interested in buying an action camera and you're kind of on the fence about it, I would highly recommend this one. And for the next week, Fluid Inform has given me a link to give you 10% off of buying this camera on Amazon. So if you're interested, the link for that discount will be down in the comment section below. And like I said, I really like this camera. I'm going to hang on to it. I figured that if I used it and I didn't like it, I would just do a giveaway and give it away to one of you. But I like it well enough to hold on to. And you know, as a minimalist and with as much problems as I have with space, holding on to stuff, you know, that's kind of the ultimate recommendation. I think that I will hold on to this camera and keep using it.